Yeah, and it looks like our round 2 matchup is almost ready to go. We are going to be broadcasting Aaron Traylor versus Rachel Anand. Of course, Aaron Traylor, you know, he was the runner-up at the United States National Championship.
He was a double protect away from becoming the U.S. National Champion.
Just really close.
Right.
Really close to becoming the national champion. Rachel Anand, of course, is a player from the Great Britain. She's been around for a very long time. And, you know, yesterday we actually watched her go from day 1 to day 2. So it's going to be another one of those matchups where, you know, Rachel has already been playing. You know, she's warmed up.
Yep.
Versus Aaron, who kind of got the day off yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron, I think, is one of the older competitors in terms of experience in this field, actually having started playing in 2011. He actually was a senior regional champion in 2011, got top 4 at the national championships in 2011, and then just missed out on the top cut of the world championships with a 3-2 record in 2011. He was actually he just missed out on a World's Invitation last year, invites in North America last year, which were the top 40 players, and Aaron was 41st. And so it means a lot for him to be back in this field, to be able to compete in Masters now. I think this actually is his first Masters World Championship, and he's fresh off a 2nd place finish at US Nationals, and he's looking to go even further. I know he really wants to take this event.
And I believe Rachel was actually running a very interesting team yesterday. I don't exactly know what it is just yet, but also Aaron is probably one of the best Big Six players. Is there such a thing as the best Big Six player? He knows the matchup really well, and he plays exceptionally well, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you think about this format especially, it's more flowcharty is what I would call it, right? You can think how you play against specific matchups because there are only certain restricted combinations you can go against. And of course, each of those combinations can have different supporting Pokemon, but in general, Aaron, you know, has thought through a lot of matchups and how to approach them, and that really helps him. I think he has a great mentality for the game, and he's really looking to continue. I believe both Aaron and Rachel won their first round as well.
Yeah, and I actually got a quick glimpse of Rachel's team right there. I saw a Rayquaza and a Landorus.
And a Lapras.
And a Lapras, so this is going to be a very great matchup right here. We do see Aaron running his standard team of Cresselia, Xerneas, Groudon, Smeargle, Salamence, and Bronzong, of course, the matchup that you all have to prepare for. And, you know, Rachel, we caught a quick glimpse of it. Rayquaza and Landorus. Landorus, of course, is a Pokemon that was very popular last year.
Yeah.
It does have its moments this year, though, because it does naturally outspeed Groudon.
Right, and that's a big deal. I actually really like the Choice Band item on it because you're able to get really powerful attacks off. And Explosion, you know, kind of a throwback to the older VGC days. Of course, Explosion is significantly weaker than the older days, but still a really strong option. And I'm really excited to see Rachel's team. I think it's kind of cool because it's like one of those really interesting, really dynamic kind of legendary duo. She is not using one of the top 3 restricted combinations that we pointed out, whereas Aaron is running a very kind of standard team. But as we saw from US Nationals, Aaron's got tricks up his sleeve all the time.
Absolutely. You know, looking at this team matchup, you know, Rachel has probably prepared for this. You know, a lot of players, they look at this matchup and they have to kind of know what's going to go, what their game plan is already.
Right. And so we're going to get into this one. I'm really excited, and it should be a fun matchup.
Yeah, and, you know, Aaron looks happy. Rachel looks happy as well. And, you know, it's day 2 of the World Championships, right? You know, at the end of the day, you're still playing this game that you love so much.
Right.
As we do see Smeargle and Talonflame out for Rachel's side, and Aaron going to go ahead and lead with the Salamence and Smeargle. So very similar leads, both flying Pokemon with a Smeargle out there.
Yeah, I think if I'm Aaron, though, I like my position a little bit more. I get the Intimidate against Talonflame, and that's probably the biggest deal. And I think Salamence is more of a offensive threat relative to Talonflame because Salamence can Hyper Voice and it can Double Edge. Talonflame at this point, you know, is at -1 attack, so it can Brave Bird, maybe Flare Blitz or Taunt, but it's only going to help you so much here. But of course, both Smeargles is facing against each other. That's a big deal. You know, it comes down to who's faster, who has maybe Crafty Shield to block potential Dark Void. Those are all options right now, but Aaron at least has more of a offensive kind of position because that Salamence is threatening with a Double Edge or a Hyper Voice.
And we do see Salamence now on Era's side going to go ahead and Mega Evolve. You know, this is a lead that Aaron favors a lot.
Yeah, he loves this
matchup.
lead.
As we do see options for Tailwind, we do see options for Smeargle to do Smeargle things. As we see Smeargle on Aaron's side go for a Crafty Shield right there, going to protect it from a Dark Void. Ooh,
and the taunt.
The taunt. As Salamence goes for a Tailwind, going to be able to set this up right now. And what is Rachel's Smeargle going to do? Does it have any cool attacks? Goes for the Dark Void into that Crafty Shield, unfortunately. So great turn 1 right there from Aaron's side.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. She fell right into the taunt or the Crafty Shield and the accuracy increase.
So that's huge right there. We'll have to see what Rachel can get off her.
Oh, hello.
Sharp speed rise right there. as we do see the defense drop. Not going to matter too much depending on how the Smeargle is. Obviously, we do see some more bulky Smeargles as we move on.
Right. And so really interesting here, you know, both players getting increase with Moody like could potentially matter, but once again, the issue with Rachel's positioning is that she still can't do very much damage, and she's not switching out here either.
Yeah, and Smeargle does go for a Crafty Shield right here, gonna be blocking all sorts of... Oh, a double Crafty Shield, just worried a little bit about the Dark Void. What is Talonflame gonna do to try to... Oh, it goes for a Brave Bird. I was maybe expecting a little bit of a Tailwind to kind of match Tailwinds, but instead of going straight on this offensive, gonna try to damage this Smeargle right now, bring it down to about 50% of its hit points remaining, as Talonflame does take recoil just from the Brave Bird. We do see Samus now go for a double edge onto that Talonflame, does pick up the KO. Huge knockout right there. Talonflame is off the field, and we'll have to see what Rachel decides to do to kind of get that momentum back in her favor.
Yeah, and we are going to get some more Moody boosts here.
Attack Rise, okay, not going to matter too much as we do see the special defense drop. And on Rachel's side, we do see an attack rise as well, and we do see a defense drop.
So, you know, pretty interesting there. But ultimately, I think if I'm Aaron, I'm still feeling pretty good about my positioning here. Now, we do see the Xerneas come in, which is pretty cool because of the fact that Xerneas here is, you know, really strong against both Salamence and Smeargle. Of course, Aaron does have the Tailwind up, and Salamence can still hit really hard for double edge, but Smeargle can't knock it out. So I could see Rachel pulling something off like a Crafty Shield and a Geomancy.
Yeah, and just a heads up, guys, this is the first game of round 2 of day 2 of the World Championships. After this game, we are actually going to go ahead and toss it to the Pokken Tournament Finals, so that's also exciting to tune into as well here on the main stream. We'll have to see exactly what Rachel decides to do here as Smeargle goes for a Crafty Shield on Aaron's side now. Again, going to try to prevent the Dark Void from happening as Salamence does get to go for a double edge right now into that Xerneas slot. Going to do a good amount of damage right there, bringing it down to about 50% of its hit points remaining as Smeargle goes for another Dark Void in that Crafty Shield. So it looks like Aaron's pretty content with just going for a Crafty Shield as we do see the Dazzling Gleam come out.
Yeah.
No Geomancy, just going to go straight for a Dazzling Gleam and connect onto Smeargle and Salamence.
Yeah, so that's a pretty good turn, I would say, from both players. I think both players have been extra cautious to make sure that a Dark Void doesn't get off, which makes a lot of sense here. Smeargle does get another increase. It's going to be a special attack increase, but of course it does have that speed increase from earlier, I believe.
Yeah, and you know, that was kind of a good way to do it. You know, you kind of create this sort of situation. What is Aaron going to do? Protect from sleep or protect from getting knocked out?
Oh!
Okay, all right, 2 supporter Pokemon out right now. Bronzong and Cresselia out on the field for Aaron's side. Not much offense to be done here, though, at all.
Right, and even though that normally would be a concern, like, I don't think Rachel really has too much that could actually potentially threaten both of these Pokemon. So while it's rare that we see Cresselia and Bronzong, because they're typically support Pokemon, you still have Cresselia with, you know, Psychics, and if it's built offensively, it could do a lot of damage. And Bronzong, of course, with Gyro Ball as well. I believe Tailwind is still up here as well for Aaron's side for one last turn.
And we do see Rayquaza switch out right now into, we do see, it switches in as Cresselia does go for a Sidekick onto that Xerneas slot. And Xerneas does take a lot of damage, but the Moonblast right now going to connect onto that Cresselia. Going to do
oh my gosh,
huge damage with a critical hit right there. Does activate the Citrus Berry. And, you know, Bronzong and Cresselia, again, they don't have much offensive power. And Bronzong does get to set up a Trick Room right here, so again, not much offensive pressure. Yeah,
Tailwind peters out, but there's still the Smeargle in the back, and Smeargle could potentially be faster than Cresselia under Trick Room. So we do see the Rayquaza come in. That critical hit, they're doing so much damage to Cresselia, indicating like Cresselia most likely is more especially offensive than, you know, or instead of being the typical bulkier variants that we see. So I wouldn't be surprised to see if that Cresselia maybe was modest or something as opposed to something like Sassy. But still, you know, Aaron's in a pretty good position. Bronzong and Cresselia are still really good Pokemon to have right now.
Yeah, and Rayquaza does protect itself here. Bronzong goes for a Gyro Ball in that slot.
Oh,
goes for another Moonblast right here. Not going to switch out. Going to go ahead and keep doing damage as the Cresselia does
my
get
gosh,
KO'd.
it's another critical
double critical hit. And now it's going to be Bronzong versus Rachel's 3 Pokemon remaining. Of course, Rayquaza and Xerneas get walled by Bronzong. And, of course, there is still the, I believe, Smeargle in the back?
There is, and so a lot of important information there. Xerneas is slower than Cresselia, and so Cresselia actually moved after with the double critical hit. They're really unfortunate for Aaron. We are going to see Rayquaza Mega Evolve now, but I think that Aaron should have enough firepower to close it out, even though Gyro Ball does a lot of damage on Bronzong's end. You know, Rachel has to target, yeah, she has to Gyro Ball 3 Pokemon individually.
Yeah, and, you know, time is an issue right now as long as Rachel can also play to maintain a Pokemon lead. That should be able to seal the deal, as we do see a Gyro Ball now connect onto that Rayquaza, doing a good amount of damage, all the way down to 50% of his hit points. And you do see Bronzong get hit with a Moonblast, not very effective, but still doing a good amount of damage. an irrelevant special attack drop right there as Rayquaza does go for a Dragon Scent, and this is still going to do a lot of damage right now. Going to connect onto this Bronzong as it goes up all the way into the sky and comes down to hit it like a truck. Bronzong takes a lot of damage as we do see another critical hit.
Oh my gosh.
This drop. So
Was that a 3 crits in 3 turns?
and we do see the life orb right there again. And, you know, it's going to be Bronzong versus the rest of Rachel's team, and that's it. This is too much damage for Bronzong to be able to take.
Can I just point out that Aaron brought Smeargle, Salamence, Bronzong, and Cresselia? He
Did not bring
Groudon
to Pokemon.
We're starting
Right.
this.
Looking at the team composition, of course, Landers does threaten the Groudon. We do see Bronzong go for the Gyro Ball now, going to connect onto that Xerneas and pick up the KO, but this Rayquaza, oh, with the critical hit right there.
That's
kind of
4 critical hits.
Kind of a little payback right there. As we do see Rayquaza, Smeargle, and
Did Rayquaza just protect
I
there?
think Rayquaza just protected there, so now it's going to come down to what this Smeargle has to kind of support this Rayquaza. Is it going to have a Gyro, or is it going to have a Follow Me? Fake out, possibly?
Right, I mean, that would, I sure hope so, because otherwise Bronzong could actually knock out Rayquaza and Smeargle can't do any damage. But there's the
fake out.
Yeah.
Does get the fake out. Safe play right there from Rachel. And it looks like Rachel is going to be taking this game with a critical hit right there as well.
I did what it
Insult
did.
to injury as the Dragon Ascent does come out and connect onto this Bronzong. And Rachel Anand is going to go ahead and take this game 1 here of round 2 of day 2 of the 2016 Pokemon Video Game Championships. So a well-played game from both Rachel and Aaron right there. And, I mean, that was a great game from both players.
Yeah, and unfortunately we aren't going to be able to show this full best of 3 because I believe we are going to be throwing it to Pokken.
Pokken Tournament Finals, though, so
Yeah.
that's also going to be hype as well. That's coming up very shortly here on the main stage, so tune in, stay tuned, right? There's more Pokemon action coming for you here from the 2016 Pokemon World Championship. You know, there's Pokken, there's Video Game Championship, there's also Trading Card Game Championships, too, so stay tuned, guys.
And of course, you can check out all the individual streams at Pokemon.com/live that has the main stream and each individual game stream embedded into it.